Before Lieutenant Titus in the video game smash hit Space Marine 2, there was another unsung hero, another 8-bit champion of the Emperor who endured endless waves of chaos cultists, minions of Nurgle, and endured the wiles of Tzeentch alone, but stood triumphant in the end. His name was Malum Caedo. You know, why does Lieutenant Titus get to hog all the limelight and receive all the praise for video game heroes? Well, here I am trying to correct that wrong by giving a much needed spotlight to a very pixelated hero by the name of Malum Caedo. In this video, I am going to show you how to build your very own Malum, but the thing is, you have to understand we are not going to be modifying any parts, so the build is going to be pretty expensive going in. But with that being said, let's build our very own Malum Caedo. So for the head area, we have a few options, with the first one being Cave on Shrike of the Raven Guard. Unfortunately, the biggest drawback is that the helmet has a gigantic Raven Guard symbol. Not pictured here is another option from the Raven Guards, which is the Sergeant for the Intercessors. I believe his name is Righteous or Rikus, and the Sergeant has a more neutral helmet with the skull. However, I think that the best option comes from this Ultramarine Vanguard veterans with the Beaky. The helmet is a near replica of Caedo's with the laurel around the helmet. The thing that doesn't match is that the laurel on this helmet is green, but our pixelated hero has a golden laurel. With regards to the left pauldron, it would appear that this particular pauldron is the easier one to source because all the left pauldrons are going to contain this Ultramarines chapter symbol. Thankfully, JoyToy has released a whole entire squad of Sternguard veterans in which to choose the left pauldron from. Not pictured here is that you could use the left pauldron that is found with the one on the auto bolt rifle, as well as this one with the regular bolt rifle. Ironically, I own all the Sternguard veterans except the one that I need, which is the one with the auto bolt rifle. It would appear that we're in a bit of a bind with the right pauldron. Looking at a render of Mr. Boltgun, the design that is most difficult to find is that golden eagle that protrudes out of the pauldron, and I don't believe we're going to find an exact match for this piece of armor, sadly. So I think that I'm going to use this left pauldron of the Vanguard Veteran Sergeant due to this double Aquilo that is the closest match, or one of the Suzerain Ultramarines in which I do not have on hand. Now, with regarding the arms, from what I can tell from the various pictures of Mr. 8-Bit Marine, you can use the forearms of the Sternguard veterans that I have mentioned before. I suppose if you wanted to get a little bit fancy and have some coin to spend, then upgrading the arms to perhaps maybe the company champion would perhaps be a good fit too. To be honest, I think that the chest area is likely the easiest area to choose because our hero has a golden wing skull, and there are a ton of options to choose from amongst the Sternguard veterans again. In the torso area, you can see that there are 3 cables that are running from the chest down to the waist area, and there are not many 40K action figures that give you that option. However, there is one very, very good candidate, which is the Ultramarines chapter champion right here. And this action figure does have these 3 cables. I would have to say, for a budget option, you are probably best off using the torso that you find on the Sternguard veterans. I really doubt that anybody is really going to be able to tell difference. Now, with regards to the belt area, once again, drawing upon the Sternguard Veteran Reserve, we are going to determine what is the best fit for the belt. The first one is the one I have in my hand, which is the veteran with the bolt rifle with the scope. The reason why I say this is that the chain that is dangling down kind of matches Caedo's, but the pendant, unfortunately, down here does not. Not pictured here is probably what I think is the better fit, is the veteran with the auto bolt rifle. This one is near perfect because of the single purity belt that is dangling down, which is the closest to Malum's 3. Sadly, this one does not have this pendant either, so you're going to have to do some sacrificing here. Looking through all the choices for the Sternguard veterans for the right leg, there are going to be a few choices. In your perfect choice for the right leg is the one with the bolt rifle. The reason why I say that is because this one has a Crux Terminatus, which matches Malum's. Unfortunately, the knee is white on this one, as opposed to Caedo's blue kneecap. You could obviously paint over the white with the blue if you're so inclined. Once again, not pictured.
we have a really good match for the right leg, which is going to be the one with the auto bolt rifle. You have the perfect crux terminatus and a blue knee, which means that you don't have to do any modifications. Then looking at the left leg, there is a prominent golden skull that protrudes out on the knee area. Out of all these Sternguards, I believe there is only one close match for the left leg, which is this one with the Combi-Plasma gun. This particular Marine has that golden skull that you want, but sadly the knee is white, so you're going to have to leave it white or paint over this area with the good old blue of the Ultramarines. With regards to the backpack, from what I can tell, there's really nothing too remarkable about the backpack at all. I'm guessing that the plain MK10 backpacks will do quite nicely. Now, the chainsword is a bit of a problem because Caedo's chainsword is rather specialized looking. You can see that there's a gold cap at the end of it. Unfortunately, I have not seen any chainsword that would be a one-to-one substitute for this particular design, but I think you can opt to use either a plain old regular Space Marine chainsword that you find on regular intercessors, but I think for my particular Caedo, I'm going to be using this chainsword that is found on the Beaky Vanguard veteran. The Boltgun is arguably one of the most important areas to get correct because, well, that's what the name of the video game is called. So obviously you're going to have to try to find a red Boltgun, and the color is going to be very hard to find amongst the Ultramarines. So you will have to buy a separate loose gun or look to the other chapters. Now with the Black Templars Crusade Squad, their whole entire bolt rifle is red, and they also rock this gold wing skull.
Alright, members of the chapter, how do you feel about this action figure of Caedo that I have created through existing Warhammer 40K parts? Do you feel as if I have selected the right parts for our hero, or could I have missed a few? Let me know in the comments section what you thought about the build and what I could have done better and potentially could have saved a little bit more money. Okay, using David Toys where I procure all these action figures, we will tally up the total of how much this figure could potentially cost. The prices include the 12% discount when you input the code SNS at checkout. This Vanguard Veteran Sergeant, and the cost for this particular action figure is $53. This particular Sternguard Veteran is going to be $42. The cost of this Sternguard Veteran is also $42. So the cost of this Vanguard Veteran with the Beaky is going to be $53. Next, this Ultramarines Champion costs $62. So the grand total for this action figure is going to be in the neighborhood of $222 or $284 on the high end. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed this building video, and let me know in the comments section if you want to see more of these videos in the future. So members of the chapter, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate the strong support, and with that being said, I'll see you all in the next one.